This edition of Tru Heel Heat is brought to you by Mission Pro Wrestling. Mission Pro Wrestling Tournament Out of Hell is coming up on November 6th. Get your tickets now on missionprowrestling.net. If you're not able to be in the Texas area on November 6th, you can stream it live on Title Match Wrestling Network. Without further ado, this is Tru Heel Heat. Hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. We are back once again on the road to 100 on Tru Heel Heat 96. On this edition of Tru Heel Heat, we will be discussing all the latest wrestling news, including what could have been the best or the greatest wrestling comedy segment ever. Fallout from the G1 Climax 30 finals, the poor treatment of Retribution, WWE filming sites being investigated as hotbeds for the virus, and a potential cover-up revolving that, Week 51 of the Wednesday Night Wars, and preview and predictions for Impact Bound for Glory and Hell in a Cell, and more. I am back once again. She is back after a short hiatus for Tru Heel Heat 96, the princess of all the Tru Heels, Miss Krssi Love.
Oh, hello. Did you all miss me? I hope you did, because I missed you guys.
I did miss you. It's nice to have you back. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I missed you guys in a week of wrestling.
But I am surrounded by women empowerment because we have a very special guest with us on this edition. Top Guy JJ will join us very shortly, but we have a very special guest. She is the senior editor for Sportskeeda Pro Wrestling. She is a writer and editor. She's worked for such places as Bleacher Report and SB Nation. She is also a football fan and a foodie.
Oh!
A foodie. So foods are close to my heart, so I appreciate her for that most of all.
Too.
And she is my boss. So this is Andrea Hangst. What's going on, Andrea?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
We're very happy for you to join us on Tru Heel Heat 97. So for the viewers, subscribers on YouTube, the listeners in the podcast world, please tell them a little bit about yourself, anything that I didn't include in my introduction to you.
Oh, you're pretty thorough there, Sid. So basically, I'm the pro wrestling senior editor at Sportskeeda. Before doing pro wrestling full time, I was covering the NFL for many years. I've been a wrestling fan for 31 years now. It's my favorite thing on the planet. And so I'm really happy to be here and talking about it with you two.
We are very happy for you to join us. Krssi loves when we have another female on the show because she's sick of dealing with us.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, I didn't want to say that, but whatever.
We keep it real here on Tru Heel Heat. So this edition of Tru Heel Heat is brought to you by our very good friends over at Wrestling Travel, as well as, speaking of women empowerment, our newest sponsored promotion, Mission Pro Wrestling, the promotion brought to you by the mind of Thunder Rosa, empowering women's professional wrestling, and their Tournament Out of Hell show coming up in Texas on November 6th will be available on Title Match Network. So definitely check that out. But we start off every Tru Heel Heat for you, the fans, the subscribers. So a quick reminder, give this video a thumbs up, share this video with all your wrestling fans and friends. Of course, there's the iCard down at the bottom to subscribe and the bell below that to stay notified. Enable all notifications for all the videos on Tru Heel Heat. Our Tru Heel roll call is how we start off our podcast. Our top 3 conversation starters are Tru Heel Trinity. Coming in at number 3 is our Gino Bismone. Coming in at number 2 is our New Japan aficionado, James Wims. And coming in at number 1 is the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson. Once again, 83 weeks strong.
Yep. Gonna have to retire like TRL or like 106 in Park.
Like I said, if he makes it to 100, we're going to retire his jersey. We're going to have like a jersey ceremony and everything. Tru Heels that we got to shout out: Cassidy Haynes, Dave Boney, Zachariah Allen, Shane Parrish, Jenna Side, and Carol Wads. A couple of our new followers on Twitter and on Facebook as well. Our YouTube subscriber highlight: Kayfabe Tactus, our king of the comments section, back in the comments talking about the True Rewind episode number 15, where we talked about WCW Starrcade 1995. He says, "Thank you for putting me for putting the time into doing this. I want to drink now as well and continue into 1996." So I am right there with want to get past 1995. That was a rough year for WWF and WCW, so I'm glad it's over for us. Dose of Reality 420 says, "And the Kingston break outstar question mark. Nah, to me, guys like Eddie Kingston and to a lesser part, Pillman Jr. are not breakout stars. They have been stars in my eyes for Pillman at least a year and Kingston many years. Thank you for telling me 1 through 9 on the PWI 50 are whack WWE clowns because you just saved me from wasting $10. Thunder Rosa deserves number 1 because she holds multiple championships, including TJPW and NWA. The NWA title holder should supersede any champion because of the legacy and tradition." So a spicy comment by Doses Reality 420 from Tru Heel Heat 96. And also on Tru Heel Heat 96, Kwame Shafir commented, "I watched hashtag For the Culture last weekend and it was fucking awesome because every match definitely delivered, and my favorite matches were ACH versus Moriarty, JTG versus Miguel, Cray versus Xavier, and Suge versus Trish. They need to do this show weekly, not annually. Hashtag For the Culture." Like I said, that was my favorite show from the collective weekend, so I appreciate that comment most of all. I know Andrea was watching the collective weekend as well. I know you're a big freelance fan, so I actually started watching that show from your suggestions, so I thank you for that. Moriarty versus Isaiah's was a banger already. That's all I saw so far. What was your favorite match from that show?
That was my favorite match as well. The whole thing was really great. I obviously it suffered from spring break going long. It started late to begin with, and then it was like half pushed back by like half an hour or something because I had to clean out the venue. But I thought it was a wonderful show, and hopefully the folks that couldn't stay awake and bought the collective package will go back on Fight and give it a watch.
I'm on Fight. I'm going through it. It takes a lot for all the wrestling. Krssi Love knows I watch a lot of wrestling, so I try to make my way through everything periodically. So speaking of things that you must watch, I actually had to stop Miss Krssi Love before we started filming this episode because she had to see the most talked about segment probably of 2020 in professional wrestling, and usually we save our AEW Dynamite and NXT talk for later in the show during the top news, but we have to talk about this segment right off the bat. We will talk about the rest of NXT and AEW later in the show, but we have to talk about La Dinner Debonair. Chris Jericho and MJF had a steak dinner this past week on AEW Dynamite, and it turned into a musical number where they did Me and My Shadow from the Rat Pack with replacing names of certain baby faces in AEW. They stick together like Cody to a jackass. They stick together like a recliner to Matt Hardy's forehead. It's such lines as that. Beautiful stuff. But I have a question for you two ladies. We'll start with you, Andrea. Was it quite possibly the greatest comedy segment in professional wrestling history?
I think it's definitely up there. I think it's one of the best comedy segments. Maybe since, let's say, and this is also Chris Jericho, the Festival of Friendship. It seems like
that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think I think Jericho. I mean, clearly we've seen him over the years that he's got some comedy skills, and he likes to get creative with the humor. And MJF is the perfect person to do that with because he's also got like a theater background and stuff like that, and he doesn't take himself too seriously because to portray a character like MJF does, you can't take yourself like too seriously. So I thought it was great. I thought it was like really like joyful, and considering there's so much there's just so much stressful stuff even going on in professional wrestling right now.
Yeah.
So it kind of like was able to kind of take me, it took me out of that for a few minutes. And so it was like, oh, this is what like just enjoying something is, which I feel like we haven't been able to do in like almost a year now.
Exactly. Like that was the one thing that stood out the most to me. Like I was like, it's a very polarizing segment because people I think took it a lot seriously than it needed to be taken. Yeah. Because I was like, people were taking it more seriously than MJF and Chris Jericho took that segment because they were having so much fun. Miss Krssi Love, I know you just watched it before we started recording this episode. What are your initial thoughts having just seen it?
Well, first of all, thank you for making me watch it because I loved it. I don't know how you could not love that segment. Like, it's supposed to be funny. They're not supposed to be taken serious. It's to put a smile on your face and make us like think and see. Okay, are these guys really? What are they going to do next? Like, this is what it's going for. You understand what I'm saying? So I am very, very excited to see what happens next. And very good comparison to the celebration of Friends because it's funny. It's supposed to put a smile on your face and like. After all these shitty months that we've been having, why not laugh at what we love the best, which is wrestling? Okay, they're at a restaurant. Okay, they don't have to be serious, and they're trying to out-order each other. That part right there, before they even started singing, I was just like, I love it. Like, he kept saying the lady's name wrong. He's like, why are you so rude? Like why are we doing this? They look phenomenal. They had Nitro Girl come back with them. I thought it was phenomenal. I loved every second of it.
Like, I totally agree with Andrea. This is like the funniest segment that I've seen since the Festival of Friendship. And another thing that I've seen online is a lot of people with the tribalism as the comparisons with WWE and AEW and always saying, oh, if this happened in WWE, you guys would be crapping all over it. And I said this on a Wrestling Travel podcast earlier today. It wouldn't happen in WWE. Nope. They literally have these type of guys who they trust for this type of comedy. Once in a blue moon. Chris Jericho a couple of years ago with the Festival of Friendship. Mick Foley in the past with his comedic timing. But they just don't seem to trust people like that other than R-Truth. And R-Truth, that's it. Yep. Other than R-Truth, they don't really trust anybody with this type of comedy, but they had so much fun with it, and it was different, and it was something we didn't expect to get, because when we heard about the steak dinner, you thought it was just going to be more interplay between MJF and Chris Jericho. We saw them interplay in a parking lot. We saw them interplay backstage. We saw them interplay in the ring. There was only so much interaction they could have like that. It would have been, if they didn't do that musical number, people would be like, oh, that was just the same as last week, the same as the week before. They gave us something completely different that's going to be talked about for years to come. Andrea, is there anything other in the year? I know you watch almost as much wrestling as me, or probably even more. Is there anything from this year that was as funny as this segment?
I don't think so. I mean, you bring up R-Truth. He's done some great stuff with very little in terms of the 24/7 championship, and his like contributions on Raw Talk have been pretty good, and trying to make Shayna Baszler corpse a little bit here and there, and talk about tartar sauce and things like that. So I think that's all been very amusing. But this was, the other thing about this with MJF and Jericho is that it was unexpected. Like, we knew they were going to have a steak dinner and stuff was going to get silly or weird because that's just what happens when they interact with each other. That's just how that works. But like, I had no idea that was going to turn into that until it was happening. And I was just like, wow, they're really like doing this thing. And I had no idea. So I think it was definitely the funniest thing. I think it's one of the most entertaining things. And I think because it was just so like out of the blue and unexpected and unpredictable, I thought was a really nice touch. They hinted at that. They didn't hint at that at all until it happened.
Yeah.
That's why I love it most of all. I love things that surprise me in professional wrestling, and that was one of the biggest surprises of 2020 for me. Like you said, this was much needed with all the stress and everything going on, especially in the wrestling world. We needed Dinner Debonair. So
yes.
Let's move on, ladies, to G1 Climax 30, A and B block finals, as well as the finals this past week. We previewed that on Tru Heel Heat 96. Night 17 featured features Will Ospreay defeating Kazuchika Okada for the first time in 6 meetings with the help of his girlfriend Bea Priestley and the great O-Khan from Rev Pro and former New Japan Young Lion turning heel in the process, turning his back on Okada. We had Ibushi and Taishi in one of the most unique matches of the year with, and I have the official count, 156 kicks between the two men. Kicks to the thighs, kicks to the hamstring, kicks to the chest, and kicks to the head. 156. No, they gave us the count on the finals show. Ishii pulls out the upset against Switchblade to help Ibushi win the A block. Night 18 had Kenta defeat Naito, eliminating him from B block competition, and Sanada defeated Evil to win the entire B block. And then finally in the finals, it was Kota Ibushi defeating Sanada to win back-to-back G1 Climax tournaments. I know you, Miss Krssi Love, you've been a big fan of Ibushi. This is your first G1 Climax that you enjoy. What was your overall thoughts on the tournament? And I believe you were one of the rare people that did predict for Ibushi to win in the beginning. Because I didn't. I said Okada wins, LOL, and you called Ibushi, and you said that he looks like a Japanese boy band leader.
That's right.
So what's your thoughts on him winning back-to-back?
First of all, this was my first G1 Climax watch. I don't know if you know, but I compared it to a porno sound. That's what it sounds like. Anywho, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed the Japanese commentators more than the English ones. I don't know what they're saying, but they're very entertaining. And I was so excited that my boy band member won. I kind of marked out. I'm not even gonna lie, even though the internet ruined it for me before I was able to watch it. But I still watched it. And I was very, very happy. I did enjoy this, and I will watch for next year. So count me in, XP.
I love it. I will count you in for sure. I'll help guide you along.
Yes, and you did absolutely guide me through. Yes, absolutely, and I love it. Thanks, friend.
Andrea, what's your thoughts on a potential Ibushi versus Naito at Wrestle Kingdom, and the fact that Wrestle Kingdom will once again be 2 nights, even with the restrictions going on in Japan?
I think that's a match that people have been wanting and have been waiting for, and I think it's going to be really great. And I think having a 2-night show, I think that's a good idea. Mainly because you don't want people in a place for like 6, 7, 8 hours. Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom can go on for a long time. So having that option of having it 2 nights, I think is a safer bet. And it's I think long shows like that, I think they should be broken up into 2 days. It's like with what they did with WrestleMania as well. I just think that's better for audience fatigue. I mean, you can get tired watching wrestling, like we were talking about with Joey Janela's Spring Break going long. I mean, it was like that ended up being 4 hours and 45 minutes, and they didn't do an intermission. And it was just like, by the time the clusterfuck was like well underway, I was just like, I have been watching wrestling since 10 a.m., guys. Like, I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. So yeah, I think it's going to be a Bushi's match to win here. I think. I mean, when you win the G1 2 years in a row, which is just
right,
that's crazy. Then that has to be rewarded with a championship, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. He just became the 3rd man ever to win back-to-back G1 Climax tournaments, joining Masahiro Chono and Hiroshi Tenzan. So I am all for Ibushi winning. I feel like he was robbed of winning the IWGP heavyweight title this past year at Wrestle Kingdom because they wanted to do the mini tournament and they missed out on the Naito train by 2 years. So they finally just was like, here, Naito, finally have a bone. So Naito had to win this past year, but I think that it's time. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I said this after the 3 matches these guys had last year where they dropped each other on the head way too many times to my liking. I just hope Ibushi, and Naito make it out of Tokyo alive, because those two guys on the stage of Wrestle Kingdom at the Tokyo Dome is almost scary to think about. But the other big note from this past weekend is Will Ospreay turning heel and turning his back on Okada and Chaos and joining up with the great Okan, who is very polarizing among New Japan fans. A lot of people do not like the fact that Great Okan is back, don't feel that he's ready for the spot. But more importantly, Krssi Love, what's your thoughts on Will Ospreay being heel and B Priestley joining up with New Japan in his corner?
I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, Will Ospreay is just sexy as hell. So, I mean, he can be heel. He can be a baby face. You can't do no wrong with him. I swear, he's just phenomenal. But I'm as a new person watching New Japan, I'm excited to see what will happen.
What do you think about him having being the leader of his own stable, Andrea? It's very rare that we have new stables in New Japan. I feel like we've had the same series of LIJ, Chaos, Suzuki Gun, Bullet Club for years now. So the fact that we got a new stable makes things a little bit interesting. But what's your thoughts?
I think it's always good to freshen things up a little bit. You know, if you end up with the same stables over and over again, then you end up with situations where they get bloated. There's just too many people, and then the storylines stop making sense. They start all kind of blurring together. So I think adding something fresh
Retribution.
makes sense. Well,
Sorry, I didn't say that. I apologize. Forgive me. I'm so sorry.
Not everything works. so, so I guess
Hence why I said that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we'll see how it works. I mean, I guess the entire internet has been spending the year trying to make Will Ospreay into a villain anyway, so he might as well be a heel, right? So yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes, and what this means for other factions in New Japan. If that means that people are going to splinter off there and kind of join with Will Ospreay, if other factions are going to kind of fracture because of this, or if it's just additional faction warfare for New Japan. They love so much.
They love them some faction warfare for sure. I talked about it with Tempest and J News on our finals roundtable. Jeff Cobb was originally supposed to be in the Great Okan spot, so I would like Jeff Cobb to kind of join up with this. This would give him a purpose in New Japan. And the other thing I gotta note, my girlfriend, the love of my life, Tia, she's the biggest Will Ospreay fan. She has an Ospreay Nerds jacket, an Ospreay hoodie. She said it from the first match in the G1 I made her watch. She was like, he seems cockier. He seems like he's very overconfident. And then we watched that match with Okada, and the biggest Ospreay fan I know screamed when Great Okada helped Ospreay, not like this! Not like this! New Japan, you worked. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got to move on to SmackDown. SmackDown got emotional as well, as we had the New Day farewell with them defeating Sheamus, Cesaro, and Nakamura. We also had Roman Reigns defeat Braun Strowman with a new guillotine choke submission after there was a brawl between Uso and Reigns, ending with Roman hitting the Superman punch. Andrea, we asked every one of our guest hosts now, ever since his turn and his new character, what are your feelings on not the tribal chief, your tribal chief, our tribal chief, everyone's tribal chief, Roman Reigns?
You mean the big dog?
The big dog. Yes.
I love the heel turn. I think it's great that they turned him heel. I think the way that they're doing it with the family storyline and the tribal chief stuff, I think is really clever. I think it's really great to have, Jey Uso kind of involved instead of waiting for Jimmy to come back from his injury. I think it's really great. And it's basically, at this point, I'm just like, man, why did they wait so long to do this?
Right.
It's one thing with the character. It's also, why did it wait so long to make him take off a vest? Like, this guy looks like a superstar without the vest. It's like, what were you hiding?
Seriously. I mean, we've known that he's a very, very handsome man for a long, long time. And it's just like, take off the vest.
Please, should have done this long ago. Miss Krssi Love, did you get emotional with the New Day farewell? I know it was a teary eye moment with them departing from each other, with Big E staying on SmackDown and Woods and Kofi going to Raw. What was your thoughts on the farewell?
First of all, I hate it that they broke all of them up. I think it sucks, and I need to put a petition together because this shit is ridiculous. How do you have a New Day without 3 members? It's not cool. Anywho, but yes, I was very sad, and I think it was kind of like telling they weren't really acting. I think they really are. They were. I think it was really shown like they've been doing this, and they fought to put this together, and like people didn't believe in it, and now like they kind of like got a breakup. I was like, well, what was the whole point of having the last match in the damn first place? Is like you break them up, and then for them to come back, it was like WWE does such ass backwards stuff. I don't understand it. I really don't get it. I've been saying it for the longest time. It's like we had the draft. Okay, fine. Now you make me still gotta wrestle on the show, and then I gotta be wrestling on like it's ass backwards. It's retarded to me. I don't get it. But whatever. I don't work there, so I can't. I don't have the bucks, or whatever to say anything. I talk on this podcast. But yeah, I'm sad. I like them together. They make money. Kids love them, and to explain that to my children, they were like, "What?" And they're like, Xavier was gone, and now he's back. But oh yeah, Biggie's not with them no more. They was like, "Huh?" And then they just walked away from me because they was like, "I don't have to deal with this shit." Like
We missed SmackDown with the Lynches. We would have loved their responses to that.
Yeah, we'll be back. Don't worry.
We didn't see the complete end of the New Day there, as on Raw we had Big E in the Thunderdome rooting on Kofi as he defeated Sheamus on their first official night on Monday Night Raw. But the big news story from Monday Night Raw is Retribution and their poor treatment. They lost to Hurt Business in their second match ever, and then got beat down by The Fiend. Later in the night, Ali explains that he was the mystery SmackDown hacker from earlier this year. My biggest question to you, Andrea, is: was this the plan all along? Was Ali always going to be the SmackDown hacker, and that was the explanation for him being the leader of Retribution? Or do you think the WWE is flying by the handle and just going along with the flow?
I think they're just kind of making it up as they go. I think I think Mustafa Ali was he was the SmackDown hacker. But I think they just abandoned that storyline and then decided to weave it back into Retribution because he's the leader of Retribution for reasons that I don't think have been made clear yet. So I don't know. I think it is.
I said the same thing, Andrea. I'm like, I'm not getting it. But SP and JJ swear by it, and they're all on board for it. I still don't believe it. He can be the hacker. That's fine. I'm giving it a chance, but right now the chances are still narrowing down. My fingers is getting down. You got to cross them out like tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, I don't understand the Retribution thing to begin with. I don't understand the name changes. I don't understand why they have contracts, even though they are like, we hate everybody who's getting paid by WWE. Mm-hmm. I don't get that. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why they're only on Raw if they hate the entire company. I don't get any of it. And, congratulations, Mercedes Martinez, for getting out of Retribution and going back to NXT. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think like Mercedes would probably be complaining like Chelsea Green. Like Chelsea Green, I think she was probably supposed to be a part of Retribution since she's been off TV for a while. They separated her from the Robert Stone brand, but I think she saw the signs of Retribution, was like, no, I'll stay away. And now she's a little bit frustrated staying at home. But Mercedes was like, nah, I gotta go. I didn't spend 20 years. I didn't spend 20 years on the indies for this. No.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I understand you. The last question I have on Retribution to you both: did this whole them losing to the Hurt Business, T-Bar tapping out, and the Fiend beating them down mark the end as Retribution potentially being a main event stable? Start with you.
So. I hope so. Yeah. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and especially because right now like after Hell in a Cell, we're heading into Survivor Series time, and we just had a draft, and so we have to pretend that these new people on Raw care about Raw and want to fight SmackDown. And I think they were talking. I heard that there were like rumors that Retribution was going to be like a big part of Survivor Series, but I don't think. I think this is like a sign. What happened on Raw is a sign that that's not going to be the case. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just speculating.
Right.
But it seems like they don't really have a plan for it. They didn't have a plan for it to begin with, and the fan reception about it all has been so tepid to negative that I think maybe hopefully we'll get a little bit less Retribution. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not into it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all for how they've treated them recently. Krssi Love, I already know how you feel about Retribution. The other stuff that went on Raw was Elias had a concert to preview his album that Jeff Hardy interrupts. We also had AJ Styles with a new bodyguard in Big Jordan. The former bouncer of Raw Underground, and beats Matt Riddle. We also had Braun defeat Keith Lee with the low blow, and Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton end the show. It seemed prematurely, but PW Insider reports that this was the plan for the show to cut off unexpectedly. I will go back to Elias, and what's your thoughts, Miss Krssi Love? Reports say Elias is in line for a big push on Monday Night Raw. How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's cool and all. How many albums are we gonna get from Elias? I mean, ain't this like album like number 4 or something from him? He does how many concerts?
I think it's the second one.
Hello, I'm just funny. Hello, get it. My point is, like, we've seen this already. Push him. He's great. He got, they did the whole Jeff Hardy thing or whatever. He supposedly, did this stuff to him or whatever. Great. All right, I'm down for it. Let's see what happens. And what I am down for is AJ Styles and his bodyguard. I fucking loved it.
So you're a fan of Big Jordan in AJ's corner, him being his black Big Daddy cool.
I am very much a fan. I can't wait to see what else happens to him. I think because I was really sad for what happened with AJ and the Good Brothers and that whole being departure. So for him to have somebody now in his corner, which will make him be more of an asshole, I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I agree. I liked it. I didn't too much like that finish with Matt Riddle kind of looking soft, but I know you did because you're not the biggest Matt Riddle fan. So
here you go. See why you gotta ain't nobody even asked you about that though.
I just have to state facts. I'm sorry. We also missed UWN Primetime Live, which had the Pope D'Angelo Dinero defeat Ziggy Dice to win the NWA Television Championship. We also had the brackets revealed for the UWN Championship Tournament with Eric Redbeard, aka Rowan, Davey Boy Smith, Peter Avalon, the Liberian, Mike Bennett, and more involved in that tournament. We'll talk about that more next week on Tru Heel Heat. Impact Wrestling was the final what we missed. They had the go-home show for Bound for Glory with Hernandez winning a 5-way to be the last entrant in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, and Rhino being the first entrant. Good promos from Eric Young, EC3, Moose, Diana Perazo, and Kylie Ray hyping their matches for the pay-per-view. Andrea, I know you're here for this early portion of the show. We will do a full Bound for Glory preview at the end of this show, but give us your thoughts on the card for Bound for Glory and what match you're most looking forward to.
I think Bound for Glory is looking really good. Impact has been doing a lot of great work in the past few years, and I think it's been really impressive how they've been able to pull off actual empty arena wrestling where there's not even any other wrestlers in the stands, and it's been really compelling work, and I have to really applaud them for that. Their pay-per-views have been really great this year, so I'm expecting Bound for Glory to be a really great show. I think, I'm looking forward to Kylie Ray versus Diana Perazo. I'm looking forward to it for a few reasons. One, Kylie Ray is one of my favorite wrestlers in the entire world. She's a freelance wrestling original here in Chicago. And so I always have to root for her. I think she's going to be Knockouts champion. And the other thing that I think is really interesting about all this is Susie and Su Yung. And where has Susie been since she had her arm broken by Diana Perazo a few weeks ago? And we've seen hints of the, the undead bride kind of, seeping into her psyche here and there. And so I'm curious if that means that Sue and not Susie is going to have some sort of effect on that match, and what that might mean for Kylie Ray, because Kylie, she's friends with Susie, but as Kimberly has pointed out, how well does Kylie know Susie? She doesn't know about Su Yung, so I'm really curious where that's all going to go. I love all that weird supernatural stuff that Impact will pull out every once in a while. I think it's really clever.
I do agree with you. I was there for when Su Yung versed Ali and Kira Hogan in the undead realm, when we had the return of Rosemary 2 years ago at Bound for Glory. I was there in the Melrose Ballroom, so I'm all for Impact Wrestling. They do the cinematic stuff and their behind the scene backstage actions like really, really well. The stuff they've done with EC3 and Moose has been fun, but I agree with you. I really love the supernatural elements that have been trickling in slowly but surely with the Kylie Ray and Su Yung. So do you think that we're going to see an undead version of Kylie Ray, or do you think that it's going to go the route of Su Yung kind of betraying Kylie Ray? Because I've seen fans on either side of that spectrum.
I could see it going either way. I'm interested in either of those things. I'm interested in a dark, evil Kylie Ray, and I'm also really interested in Kylie Ray being like the ray of light, taking on the evil return of Su Yung. So either way, I'm here for it. I'm really into it.
Yes, we will talk much, much more about Bound for Glory at the end of the show with our preview and prediction section. So we want to let Andrea go. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
We loved having you on. We hope that you can come on again. Please tell everyone that's watching, that's listening, where they can find you on social media or anything else that you're doing that you want to promote.
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at fball_Andrea. That's FBALL_ANDREA. Be sure to hit up Sportskeeda Pro Wrestling for all of your pro wrestling needs. We're trying to build something big and cool over there, so come check us out. We've got a lot of exclusive interviews and podcasts and all kinds of stuff going on. It's not just a bunch of content. We got good stuff going on. You can also check me out in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, not this edition, though I did help with the Women's 100, but I'll be doing some indie wrestling coverage over there throughout the year. And yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Thank you so much for joining us. We definitely want to get you back on for sure, especially if Kylie Ray gets the victory at Bound for Glory.
Oh
we got to hear your reaction to that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Woo, thank you.
All right, that moves us on to our top news story, and our top news story has to do with something we touched on Tru Heel Heat 96, while you were away, Miss Krssi Love, with the ongoing issues with the virus and professional wrestling. This time, it's WWE filming sites being investigated as virus hotbeds in Florida. The three places WWE has been using to tape in recent months are being investigated as the virus hotspots. WFTV reports that the Orange County Department of Health has asked Orlando's COVID-19 strike team to investigate a list of 17 businesses where COVID may be spreading, and three of them are WWE locations. The list includes places like Boggy Creek Amazon distribution center, and 2 Crunch Fitness locations, as well as 8 bars in the area. WWE's locations on the list are the Full Sail University, specifically as specified as WWE Full Sail, the WWE Performance Center, and the Amway Arena, where the WWE has residency for Raw and SmackDown tapings via the Thunderdome. WWE is no longer using Full Sail for their NXT tapings, having moved their tapings to the PC, where the main arena area has been renovated into the Capitol Wrestling Center, as we've seen on recent NXTs. It's worth noting that since people will likely ask, of course, we know this all the time with the tribalism of AEW and WWE, that Daly's Place, the location of AEW's tapings, is in Jacksonville, Florida, which is outside of the purview of Orange County. WWE released a statement saying WWE is not open to the public, but rather operating on a closed set with only essential personnel in attendance. As part of the ongoing weekly testing protocols, Avinius Labs have administered more than 10,000 PCR tests to WWE performers, employees, production staff, and crew, resulting in only 1.5% positive cases, as compared to the current national average of more than 5%. Additionally, extensive contact tracing takes place, and impacted individuals are placed in 14-day quarantine and then only cleared after they test negative, which Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live said means that WWE has put out either misleading information or no information at all, because the only reports that we've heard is that 30 to 40 people have tested positive, but this statement means that there have been 150 positive tests in the WWE. This also follows WWE being named the 2019 Corporation of the Year by the PR News CSR and Non-Profit Awards. This is mostly for WWE's work with charities, but very ironic for the week that all this news has come out. What are your overall thoughts, Miss Krssi Love, on this investigation of the WWE's filming sites?
Yeah, some real fuckboy shit. Like, how many weeks we've been talking about this stuff? Seriously, like
we've been talking about it since June, since the first article.
And y'all still can't get it together. Like, what is going on? Like, what are y'all doing? I don't know if maybe the people are going somewhere and they're contracted from someone else outside of the locations, but something is seriously wrong, and you guys got to get y'all shit together. Seriously. But they're probably in denial like Vince McMahon's best friend. So, because he thinks that this is the best thing that's happened to him.
Like this is the problem that I have, because there's just so many WWE apologists out there, and we don't want to bash WWE. We don't want to bash things like Retribution, but this is something that we need to be critical about, because WWE has been so lax on their responses to this whole virus when they are the biggest promotion in professional wrestling. They should have been the leaders on how to handle these things. When you have organization and promotions like New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and Impact Wrestling, which have really led when it comes to their treatment of talent, testing of talent for this virus, and how they've been so cautious. When you look at WWE, it's just a sad case. AEW have had cases of their own, but those are mostly from outside of where they're at. It's nothing of them having an outbreak of such proportions as WWE has had on 3 occasions right now. 3 separate occasions they have had major outbreaks. They have had superstars missing where we don't know. And I've said this on here. I've said this on the Wrestling Travel podcast. WWE is such a big promotion in wrestling. They are the leader in wrestling.
They're the pinnacle.
They are viewed exactly. They are viewed on the same level as the NBA, the NFL, the UFC. All of those promotions, all of those organizations have been very forefront with their information that they put out. The NBA revealed that Rudy Gobert tested positive, and that really started this whole global pandemic. Like, NFL has been very open on people being exposed to COVID positive people.
They're fining people if the coaches don't have their mask on their face. People are getting fined. Like they're not playing with you. They're not doing no fuckboy shit. They're not covering up stuff. They are telling these people this is what it is. Get in line, get down or lay down. What you want to do.
You have to be transparent when it comes to this type of thing. This is bigger than the WWE. They're all about putting smiles on people's faces. That's what Stephanie McMahon said when they got the 2019 Corporation of the Year. But you're not putting smiles on our faces when we have to be this critical of how you're handling this whole situation. And there is a reason why you're being investigated, because you haven't taken things seriously. Even with your testing, you've been even lax with that, it seems. And you just are not forefront and not transparent with anything, it seems.
SP, you can't put smiles on people's face if you have no staff. Think about it. You have no staff. You can't give people the smiles you can't put on a show. So let's think about those people that are coming out, leaving their own families. And you wonder why people took time off and stayed with their families not to be around you guys. Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, people,
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan, like we can go on, and now they're back, and now you're putting these people in danger who are giving you like shows, and they're putting themselves out there, and you're not caring. You have to you can't put smiles on people's face without your staff. Your staff is what makes that happen, and you have to care about those people, even if it's a cameraman, the people that set that shit up, all that stuff. All those people count, and that can't count if you guys don't care.
Great point right there. What do you think is going to be like the next developments, the next revelations with the Orange County Department of Health investigating these filming sites? Because we just recently had the outbreak in NXT with people being exposed, and then we just had fans return to NXT tapings at the Capitol Wrestling Center. So what do you think? And I will put out there that John Alba, Spectrum Sports, did put out some information in regards to how they've been handling the whole treatment with everything, as far as with the NXT tapings, how they've been testing people. I will read out this tweet. I would pull it up right here. Sources: WWE NXT protocols for fans to attend the shows at the CWC are set up through WWE. They designate a testing spot for attendees to go to, cover any involved costs. Results aren't sent to the person, but they get a notification if they're cleared or not. Temperature check at the door. COVID testing for attending WWE NXT happens the day before. Every individual who attends is then taken to their pod, where they are stationed with those that are in their party. Sanitation is also available in the pod. Paul Levesque, aka Triple H, had mentioned this on the last call, and since posting, I have had some reach out. John Alba says, who have said that they are able to check their results in addition to WWE giving clearance, and I guess some others were not aware they could check them. Adventus Labs does the testings, which is the same provider WWE uses on its own crew. So yes, Krssi, back to my question: what do you think is going to be the developments or the revelations with this current investigation?
Man, they might. I hope they might get shut down. If they're being investigated, like either you're going to be on your P's, and it's sad because if you have to be on your P's and Q's now, you should have been doing this from the get go, and no one would have to investigate you. So it's like maybe they need a shut. I don't know. Maybe they need a wake up call to see that this shit is really real and no one's playing with them. Who knows? Like, I don't know, and I would hate to see that happen because, like you said, they're like the pinnacle. People have done it, like the NBA have done an impeccable job on their whole season, being everyone in a bubble, making sure everyone in their families were fine. Like, why you can't follow suit? Give people fines. Like you can't just put smiles on people's faces. You have to make sure people are safe. And if you need to, if they need to be shut down, then shut it down. Then shut it fucking down. Because you guys need to fucking wake up. And I'm sorry, I'm sad to say that because, again, I love wrestling, but I love people more to make sure that they're safe before I love wrestling.
I totally agree with you there. My final question: do you think WWE are doing a cover-up regarding the amount of people who have tested positive due to not releasing any information on who or how many have tested positive?
Absolutely. You can't, like, let's call a spade a spade. We're playing the game of spades, friend. We have like 5 of the possible. No, you have like a bunch of them, friend. And then you're reneging on us. No, you've reneged on everything because you've done it all. You've done everything wrong, friend. Like, let's go. It's sad, Sid. It's so sad. It's like, come on, like, you don't care about the well-being of people. You just care about ratings and making your money. You have a bunch of money, so like, let's just keep it going and keep it making people safe. You have it at your at your leisure. Like, you can get people to come there. Like, you can get these people tested and have them do the right thing. It's not going to prolong your staffing. Is not. I don't think it's going to delay anything. Maybe it'll give you time to make better storylines. I don't know. Maybe it'll give you a retribution, better giving. I don't know.
You never know.
Exactly. So again, I definitely think that they are covering something up, and they will be the truth will come out.
Sooner rather than later, it will always come to light. I totally agree with you there. So yes, we got our top guy with us. So Krssi Love, you are back. We give you your drumsticks once again.
Ready? Let's go.
So for week 51 of the Wednesday Night War, WWE. 51, week 51 of the Wednesday Night Wars, WWE NXT finishes with 644,000 viewers to AEW Dynamite with 753,000. Both shows are down up against the MLB World Series and the new shows. The MLB World Series did 9 million last night, but the new shows even did higher than that apparently. But what happened on WWE NXT? Lorgan and Birch defeated the Breezango to win the NXT Tag Team titles following attacks on the Undisputed Era, who were supposed to verse Breezango in the match, leading to Birch and Lorgan replacing them. Then after the match, during the finish of the match, a mystery assailant pushed Fandango off the ropes, leading to Birch and Lorgan using a low blow and then their finisher to get the win. And the mass assailant is none other than Pat McAfee. He has returned. Pat McAfee has returned and aligned himself with Birch and Lorgan. He was the man behind Rich Holland attacking Adam Cole at TakeOver 31, and he was the man behind the attacks on Undisputed Era throughout the night last night. Kushida defeated Ciampa and Dream in a triple threat match. Really good hot opener for NXT last night. Legado del Fantasma defeated Jake Atlas, Swerve Scott, and Ashante Diadonis in a very fun 6-man tag cruiserweight style matchup. Austin Theory quits NXT apparently after losing to Bronson Reed twice. The Fury and the Furry, Killian Dane once again bond on this episode, and Johnny Gargano starts a bitter feud with Wheels. What a hilarious segment at the Gargano household as Johnny Gargano says the wheel wants to see him die. Awesome comedy from Johnny Gargano. AEW Dynamite had Moxley and Kingston cut some amazing money promos about Moxley turning his back on Eddie Kingston and independent wrestling when he went to the land of sports entertainment to set up their I Quit match at Full Gear. Kenny Omega is here. The cleaner is here as he furthers his heel turn with an over-the-top intro and entrance, followed by squashing Sonny Kiss in the first round matchup in the World Title Eliminator Tournament, and got a lot of heat from the LGBTQ wrestling fan community for sure. The desired reaction. I kept telling people this is what they wanted. They wanted the heat. But the match that stood out the most in the first round of the World Title Eliminator was, of course, Phoenix defeating Pentagon in an absolute insane match. That was lovely. We almost saw Phoenix injured in this match with a top rope head scissor where he landed on his head. Hangman Page defeated Cabana, and Wardlow defeated Jungle Boy in the other first round matchups to set up our semifinals of Wardlow versus Hangman and Phoenix versus Omega next week on Dynamite. It's gonna be some bangers. Young Bucks defeated Private Party, Silver and Reynolds, and Butcher and the Blade Ray to face FTR at Full Gear. Unfortunately, in this match, we saw another scary injury as Alex Reynolds seemed to be seemingly hurt during this matchup. On one of the last spots, he was lifeless in the ring. The worst part is that the referee, none of the guys in the ring, and nobody in the back seemed to notice. And he was just out there. It was very, very poor taste, very hard to rewatch on the replay. And definitely AEW needs to address this because this is the second big time that there's been some type of a concussion in their ring or in during one of their shows, and it wasn't really addressed in the best manner. After the main event, we had FTR attack the Young Bucks and Pillmanize Matt's leg to end the show, and we talked about the aforementioned MJF and Chris Jericho Dinner Debonair in one of the most talked about segments of comedy in professional wrestling in quite some time. Top Guy JJ, we will start with you. First of all, your thoughts on Le Dinner Debonair, since we talked about that at the top of the show, and then what was the better show for you this week?
I think this is just so unfair.
What?
I think this is just so unfair. AEW had year 2 booking planned out. Like they actually went to wrestling knowledge school and actually figured out how to get. It's just not fair because it's like I'm trying. Like NXT hasn't been bad. NXT hasn't been bad over the past month or so, and they don't even hold a candle to AEW right now. It's like, I'm sorry, and it's like not even trying to be biased because it's like I'm trying to dive into what AEW and NXT is doing some pretty cool things. Like I'm actually trying to buy into the Killian and Drake thing. I'm trying to buy into this other side of Johnny with the comedic stuff. This Yui stuff, which I thought was fucking I don't want to go into this McAfee shit again. So I'm going to leave that bullshit alone. Like, that was their sore thumb of the night for me.
Yep.
Because that was a complete waste of suspense.
Yep.
But
AEW,
it's like, it feels like there's levels to this booking shit. And AEW is literally on fire. And to Pentagon and Phoenix is probably going to be better than any single match that the WWE puts on, whether it's pay-per-view or TV for the entire year.
Facts.
Like that. What the fuck? How do they give us matches like that on television? Mm-hmm. Like it's just ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous. And this Ladina, like how? How? Like I said this shit last week. Like how many hand jobs can they get? Like they don't even want hand jobs anymore. They want straight blowjob. How these two this chemistry is literally like looking. They're looking at the KO and Jericho chemistry, and they're like hi. They're like hi. We right there. We're about to pass you because we're about to have more longevity and we're actually going to have some freedom with this because we're not going to get yanked up under the rug by our boss. Like, it's beautiful, man. Like, it's beautiful. And then you just said it. Like, the promos between Moxley and Kingston, like, this not fair. And, like, all it is overshadows how amazing the Kenny Omega shit was. Like AEW was insanely loaded. To me, this was like I'm probably being recency biased. I felt like this was the best AEW episode of the year. Like this was, oh my god, this whole episode was loaded.
Action packed.
Like this from top to fucking bottom. Even the bullshit match with Warlow and fucking Jungle Boy was decent. Dope. Like, and it's like this was probably their weakest spot of the night, and that shit was pretty damn good. There's levels to this, and AEW is just literally too superior to even think that NXT had a chance.
So that's one for AEW Dynamite.
Sorry to be so long-winded, but damn, AEW was...
No, you were perfect, actually.
Like, damn.
I don't even have to talk much, to be honest.
Krssi Love, what's your thoughts, AEW or NXT this week?
I'm happy that he said the whole Jericho and Kenny, because we spoke about that earlier during the show. SP, we compared it to the celebration of friendship. Did we not?
Festival of Friendship.
I'm sorry, the festival of friendship. We compared it to that, and you touched right on it. Like you didn't even know, and it was great. First of all, Pentagon and aren't they brothers?
Pentagon and Phoenix, yeah, that's what made for a
Right.
lot of that story because
Right,
when Phoenix had if it was an injury or he was just stunned, it added to the story because Pentagon was showing remorse to it. So that was a nice
So
element.
they was like, no, hit me first. No, you hit me first. Like that was my match of the night. Like I didn't have to see anything else or whatever. The promos, the whole, that was what I loved that. And like you said, NXT was not bad until you had that shitty ass ending of that McAfee foolishness crap or whatever. That's fine, great, okay. I wasn't here for him when he was there before, and I'm not here for him now. Fuck you. That we'll put that to the side. But NXT was not bad. I'm loving the Gargano comedy spit. That was actually really good. But AEW, like JJ said, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the wrestling gods are doing. Maybe it's Dusty sprinkling some type of like stuff all over them, and it's like this. Yes, this is what I need. Glenn to do his Dusty. But this is where wrestling comes in. What makes you love it is like the whole show. He said was action packed. I don't know if it was my episode for the year, but like JJ said, that's his opinion. I totally agree with him. It was a great episode, and it's just and they keep winning because it's good. Not every episode is good, but it's not bad either, where they are still outshining the other show.
Did we even talk about Britt Baker?
No, we did not.
I mean that was that was one of my faults to it. They don't put enough emphasis on Britt Baker and the women's division.
Yes,
that was probably one of the only few faults of the show besides the injuries.
That, yeah.
I will start off by saying the injury to Alex Reynolds is a big disappointment for AEW because they need to know how to handle these situations better. Rick Knox gets a lot of slack for his kayfabe officiating of the kayfabe rules, but this is probably the biggest slight or low light to Rick Knox because he did a horrible job of being an official and looking after the performers in the ring.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, he did. He that was very poor, and it's sad. Maybe he was like looking. It's just, you got to be looking at everyone that's there, and unfortunately, he dropped the ball, and maybe who knows? Like it's an era, and like his like adrenaline is flowing, like people are around you. And you just happen to just like person that was in the ring lifeless, and you got to be like.
And as soon as Blade has to pull Reynolds over to the corner to tag in, like it's not selling anymore. Like you need to realize,
let me go look at him. Yeah,
there's people backstage that are watching that needs to see that and communicate that to the referee or the 7 different guys. I'm gonna blame them last.
In their ears.
Exactly. I'm gonna blame
the referee.
I'm gonna blame the other 7 guys last because they have a lot going on and stuff.
Right.
This was just a bad era and a bad light on AEW so soon after what happened with Matt Hardy. I would say even with that, AEW definitely won this week. I usually get on JJ for overreading certain things, but this was a great episode of Dynamite. It is among one of the best episodes of the entire year because this is the real thing that AEW promised. Everybody likes to emphasize on the fact that AEW said that they're going to give a more sports-orientated type of wrestling than WWE does. They didn't just say that. They said they were going to give you a variety show, a different types of things, and this had everything you would want. You had the big man showing off and getting a big push with Wardlow in the beginning. You had the revitalization of Kenny Omega becoming the cleaner with the over-the-top entrance, with the girl sweeping up the stage and the silhouette and talking about how many times he broke the Meltzer scale, and then squashing Sonny Kiss with the GIF face, one of the best gifts of the year. That's my new Nigga, please look. Kenny Omega, look. When pinned Sunny Kiss, I am all for pushing Sunny Kiss. I am all for him getting opportunities, but that was the perfect decision. And Omega hugging him after shows that he's a delusional heel that still thinks he's a babyface. Love
Right.
stuff like that. But Kingston and Moxley, oh my god, that first hour and change of AEW Dynamite probably was the best of the year. Not, I won't say the whole show was the best episode of the year, but that first hour and change was the best episode of the year, and it was highlighted by Moxley and Kingston through 3 promos. They made a championship match that on paper shouldn't be as anticipated as it is, feel
But
like
it
the
is,
biggest AEW world title match that there has ever been. Eddie Kingston saying that Moxley has to go to that dark side, and that dark side is where I live, had so much conviction in his voice and proved why Eddie Kingston is among the best promos in the game. John Moxley's promo with him talking about Eddie being bitter and not the person that he became friends with. This has so much personal driving it and has become one of the most anticipated AEW world title matches. And it has people really begging for Eddie Kingston to become the AEW world champion. And that is the best sign of a great world title feud.
And just to kind of like piggyback off something that you just like I am now in the realm of AEW literally every fucking week, giving me something that I never knew I needed until I see it. and come on, man, like Eddie Kingston and John Moxley, like why would I think I need this match?
right.
But like, oh my god, I need this match. Like, holy
Put it in your
shit.
vein.
And I know, like, I'm literally saying it's like I have a feeling that I'm going recency bias off of what I just saw, but like I'm literally watching a show and I can't miss a segment. I literally could not miss a segment for the entire night, and to
And that's
literally
what happened to me. I
and
missed
one of the worst one of the most anticipated storylines happens to be one of AEW's worst stories right now with the build up between the Young Bucks and FTR because that's really average. But but everything else that they've done, like we were so looking forward to this, they were damn near average. And everything else has just been so fucking spectacular. Like, oh my god, like yo, when you tell me I got Kenny Omega's whole aura gave me a fucking orgasm. Like, oh my god, yo, I don't care how mo that sounds. Don't pause me, I ain't pausing. Yo, they knew that they was doing this for Kenny Omega in year 2. That's the shit that it's like you knew they was doing this for year 2. They teased you and built the entire AEW roster in year 1. And this is Kenny's time to show everyone why he was the best in the fucking world for 2017 and 2018. That guy is going to take 2021 by storm.
Yes, and next week, Phoenix versus Omega is going to be a banger.
I can't take, like, oh my god. First of all, I didn't know. Just like JJ said, I didn't know I needed these matches. I didn't even think that they could happen. And now that you're telling me that it is going to happen, I'm like, if he gives you what he just gave you the other night, oh my god.
It's gonna be phenomenal.
I don't even know who I can choose to win. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, it don't even matter. Like, I just want to see a good match.
And the fact that Full Gear has 2 matches we've anticipated for a while, it seems like we're going to get Hangman versus Omega. We're going to get FTR versus the Young Bucks. I do agree with JJ. FTR and the Young Bucks has gotten some shine off of it because of the booking of the Young Bucks. You can't do like 6 weeks of building them as heels when they're about to verse a heel team, and now they're going back to being baby faces. That was a bad move by AEW, but I am still think that match is going to slap.
Fucking classic.
It's gonna be
classic written all over it.
It's still gonna be a dope ass match.
Like, the build up is not that good, but I definitely think they're gonna wrestle there. They're gonna give us a fucking show.
And guys, like, and this is not, and I mean this with all sincerity. This is not knocking NXT. Like, no, NXT has been doing well. Like, and NXT has been well. Like, NXT Takeover 31, we just gloated about that pay-per-view. Like NXT has been doing well, but
Three of their in their
AEW doing
defense,
something different.
three of their champions have all gotten injured back to
Yeah,
back. So they've
yeah.
had to like throw all this shit together, and they've thrown it together, and it has not been bad. It's been solid.
I
It's
Right.
not
will
like,
disagree with you guys. I did enjoy the Pat McAfee. I that made sense, and Pat McAfee is a great promo. So I prefer him being the leader of a stable and having guys that can wrestle for him. Like I said when he originally cut that promo on the Go Home show to take over 30. This guy has great all-time heel promo ability, and I think they're going to utilize that, and I think it's going to do well. We will talk more about that, I am sure, as this storyline
I,
progresses for the
Cap,
next Tru Heel Heat.
and just a feather on that, Cap. I will agree with you on something. I believe, and it's like as much as I'm not buying it right now, it feels like that Pat McAfee has this undeniable charisma to him. He has an undeniable aura that he just
oh,
looks like
stop with
he
that
is.
fuckboy
He's
shit. Knock that
like
shit off.
look. I'm with you. I agree with you, but his personality seems to fit wrestling.
Okay.
And hopefully this turns into something. Not saying he's a main eventer or anything like that, but if he just happens to be a part of the show, if he does well, I won't mind.
Okay.
Hey, we will see. We have to run through the rest of our news, WWE news. WrestleVotes reports that Survivor Series will be billed as the Undertaker's 30th anniversary, with him scheduled for the show. This follows Wrestling Observer Radio reporting that WWE is planning on
This shit getting me mad.
WWE is planning on calling Taker
I
and
got a throw up
Cena
in my mouth.
for
Excuse me.
WrestleMania 37. Krssi Love, quickly, what's your thoughts on Undertaker potentially coming in for Survivor Series?
Why? We don't need it. He's had his last ride. We've done this. I love the Undertaker. Don't get me wrong, but it's not neat. I'm not here for it. I don't care. I mean, like,
Yo, how many Hall of Fame inductions is he gonna have before he gets into the fucking Hall of Fame?
Thank
He
you,
hasn't gone into the Hall of Fame yet, so he's
I
not
know that's
retired
not
just
how
yet.
many. That's not how many inductions. Basically, he gets 25th anniversary. He gets his own fucking unique title belt. He gets retired at WrestleMania 33. Supposedly, he has his farewell. He has his farewell match at 36.
I feel like on the show someone said like 2 years ago that this would happen. I wonder who that was.
Yo, dude, you're absolutely fucking right.
You said it
like,
all. Like you've done.
yo,
I give you all of that. But like, friend, like,
all on this show said that you can't do better than the Boneyard. The Boneyard was
no.
the Boneyard was it. Like you did the Boneyard. Even SP actually thought the match was decent. That was your swan song. Go the fuck away.
Won't happen anytime soon. Speaking of WrestleMania 37, Vince McMahon is planning on doing Becky Lynch versus our Lord and Savior, UFC Hall of Famer, and the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey, at WrestleMania 37. He apparently wants to do that, but as we know, Becky Lynch is probably going to have her baby in December. So we'll see how that works.
WrestleMania is in April, friend. That's 4 months.
Becky Lynch is about to get on the phone with Beyonce's trainers.
Exactly.
When Beyonce had to do that super starvation diet to do that homecoming Coachella.
Now don't get me wrong, SP. You know I cannot stand your Lord and Savior. However, I will be here for the match. But come on, let's let the lady give birth first. Let's breastfeed. I mean, Beyonce did it too. She did it. Like, she probably can do it. She probably can if she pushes herself. But come on, friend.
It is what it is.
Let's do SummerSlam. Let's let the lady be a mom first. Like, come on.
Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Raw Underground has reportedly been canceled due to the latest virus outbreak in WWE. I think we're all thankful for that. Wrestling Observer newsletter also reports that WWE decided to move all their big angles in Reigns, Uso, Sasha Bailey, and Rollins and Mysterios to SmackDown to keep Fox happy. This was during the draft that they moved all those stuff over to the SmackDown roster. Speaking of the draft, last year's draft Telegraph, it was reported by Fightful that Paul Heyman decided to go away from established superstars and wanted more young, unpolished talent. And it was also reported by Fightful that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon turned down positions as creative director when it was in place before Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff had the position, and then after those two were let go, they turned down that position. Stephanie McMahon likes her position right now, while Triple H likes running NXT. Miro on his live Twitch stream revealed this, and then Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio confirmed that Ben Carter, the man who went one-on-one with Scorpio Sky on Late Night Dynamite in a great match Top Guy JJ was raving about, has reportedly signed with the WWE. He was having visa issues, which was restricting his ability to work in the United States. He even did those Dynamite and Dark appearances for free without charge because he couldn't get paid due to not having a visa out here for the US. So it seems that he's been signed to go to NXT UK. So we will see how Ben Carter is, and we wish him the best of luck in WWE. WWE Backstage returns this week following SmackDown on FS1, and PW Insider says it was a last-minute decision. Paul Heyman teases Daniel Cormier coming to WWE in an interview with Ariel Owani. We will see what happens with that. WWE announces that podcasts will be coming to the WWE Network, including Corey Graves' After the Bell, Alexa Bliss's Uncool, Sam Roberts' podcast, and Swerve Cities, which is the podcast of Swerve Scott, and more coming soon in the next couple of weeks. Jesse Devin on Twitter, a wrestling fan, suggests that WWE is reusing past Thunderdome's videos for the Capitol Wrestling Center's video board. Jesse Devin is a big AEW Dynamite fan, and she was watching Dynamite when she saw a picture on Twitter that she was on the NXT Thunderdome, even though she wasn't watching. So that's why she suggested this. Sami Zayn calls out WWE for snubbing him from the new SmackDown opening, as well as a Twitter post with the champions of SmackDown. Wow. And SmackDown ratings were up this week to 2.124 million viewers, while Raw was down to 1.776 million viewers. AEW news: Joey Janella was removed from AEW Dynamite this week. He was supposed to verse Kenny Omega, was replaced by Sonny Kiss after wrestling AJ Gray at GCW The Last Resort event this past Saturday. AJ Gray revealed that he has tested positive for the virus this past Monday. He took his test. He revealed that on Twitter on Wednesday, and he also worked the collective weekend that we discussed last week on Tru Heel Heat, had a number of positive tests from the performers coming out of it. Although that is the case, I did write an article for Sportskeeda about this. I did reach out to AJ Gray for a statement on this matter, and he said, I quote, I tested negative post-collective 3 times. I did not test positive till Monday, 2 days ago. GCW nor Joey Janela are at fault. I came in contact with a positive person in Nashville after my flight home. I thank AJ for that quote, and I wish him the best of luck. I hope he's staying safe. He goes through his quarantine and hopefully comes out healthy from that. Wrestling Observer Radio reported that there were backstage concern from AEW in regards to allowing wrestlers to compete during the collective weekend, and it has also been reported that there were no mandatory testing of the virus for performers on the collective shows. What's your thoughts, Top Guy JJ, on the fact that the collective GCW with 12 shows over 3 days, like we talked about last week, that they did not have mandatory testing?
12 shows in 3 days? What kind of slave labor is that? Like, that's like, what the fuck? Like, god damn, that's literally 4 shows a day. That's insane. And not one of them, and they didn't have mandatory testing each day, every single day.
Nope.
Like, how is that even possible? Like, you have different personnel interacting with different personnel. You have people coming in and out of working in the environment. Like, you gotta have those rapid tests on deck. Like what? Really? Like, really? Like, there's no shortcuts in COVID. There's no shortcuts with this shit. Like, you can't do that type of recklessness and not have every safety precaution in place. Like, that is extremely careless. And things like this is going to put a bad name on like independent scenes when they want to have these little collaborations with these other companies, because they're going to look at them and view them as careless. Like, you're not going to get the one-offs with my talents anymore, because and then this is going to potentially affect contract negotiations with talents, that they're not going to be able to do these one-off indie shows. And this is gonna just put a bad name on the, and it's not, and you know how it is. It's not like it's, there's so many like what you got Battle Club Pro that's probably doing every safety precaution. They're probably doing everything phenomenally well. You probably have MLW that's doing shit phenomenally, but they're gonna be jeopardized because of these other fucking companies that is doing piss poor jobs at safety precautions. It's a trickle effect. It's a ripple effect. This is not a matter of company by company. This is a global thing, because AEW, WWE has all the talent. They literally have all the talent. And AEW has been so friendly with letting a lot of their talents do one-off shows. This is going to put a big effect on it. And if New Japan gets in and not let their talent do these one-off shows either, indie scene is going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that collective weekend had stars from Impact, stars from ROH and AEW, but you're definitely right. It's going to have an effect on the future. Battle Club Pro is going on the cautious side. They haven't ran any events since this pandemic. I want to shout out Joe Kim Morales for being so cautious and being safe like that. Steve Tortorello of Warrior Wrestling, he's ran 4 shows since the pandemic, and they've been top notch in their testing, mandatory testing of all their talent, and been keeping safe with their precautions for the fans as well as the performers. So we want to shout out him as well. Absolutely. New Japan pro wrestling news coming out of the G1 Climax 30, and New Japan announces the card for Power Struggle on November 7th, the same day as Full Gear. So we got a jam-packed week coming up in 2 weeks' time, and it's going to be main evented by IWGP Intercontinental and Heavyweight Champion Tetsuya Naito defending the title against Evil once again, and we're going to see a right to challenge contract match as Kota Ibushi defends his right to challenge for the IWGP Go at Wrestle Kingdom against Switchblade Jay White. We will have full coverage and preview of the Power Struggle card on Tru Heel Heat 99, our show before 100. ROH Pure Title Tournament news. ROH announces that they are asking any competitors on their roster who took part in the collective weekend to not come to their latest taping. I will credit ROH as doing a top-notch job of being cautious and testing all their talent and keeping them in a bubble. Tony Deppen, who was in the Pure Title Tournament, was going to be a part of this taping, but he's been asked not to show up. He tested positive coming out of the collective weekend, as well as his pregnant wife, unfortunately. We wish Deppen and his family the best and hope that they are safe and become healthy coming out of the virus. It's Pure Title Tournament news, however. Tracy Williams defeated Fred Yehi in a great match, reportedly. Josh Woods made PJ Black tap out, so both men move on to the semifinals of the Pure Title Tournament. So the semifinals, the final 4 will be Williams versus Jay Lethal and Woods versus Jonathan Grisham. We'll have more coverage on that as we get to the finals on Tru Heel Heat 98. Impact Wrestling news, the company announces that Knockouts champion Diana Perazo has officially signed with the promotion, so congratulations to Diana. And other wrestling news, MLW taping site will be also investigated as part of the Orange County Department of Health looking into hotbeds. This is due to it being a club before the filming, so it's more to do with its previous use than what MLW is using it for. Fightful Select reports that feedback from wrestlers within the company has been very positive when it comes to MLW taking the necessary protocols to ensure their safety, which included talents taking part in their matches or segments and then returning to their hotels. They have also had CDC officials on site for all of their tapings, and also reported that some surprise big names will show up on MLW Fusion. MLW had huge signing this week with former NBA point scandal referee Tim Donahue. He had signed with the promotion as a referee. Very interesting there. On the other side of MLW news, our final news note, Bodyslam.net reports that Mance Warner's request to be released from MLW as so he can sign with AEW was denied by the promotion. So we'll definitely have more to say about that, probably on future episodes of Tru Heel Heat. And finally, we have our Impact Wrestling, Bound for Glory, and WWE Hell in a Cell is this weekend. This is preview and predictions like we like to do. We like to rapid fire through these to get through all the big matches for the weekend. Impact Bound for Glory is going to start off with the Courier shot Gauntlet match where every competitor has an opportunity to win and they get a shot at the Impact Wrestling title of their choice. The big stipulation in this one is Rhino and Heath will be in this match. Rhino has negotiated for Heath to get an opportunity to earn his contract with Impact Wrestling if he or Rhino win this match. But if they both lose, not only is Heath not going to get a contract, but Rhino will be released from the promotion. Tennille Dashwood has been announced, Tommy Dreamer, Brian Myers, Cody Deaner, Cousin Jake, Johnny Swinger, Hernandez is going to be the 20th entry, Alicia Edwards, Heath, of course, and Rhino will be the number one entrant. Who do you have? We will start with you, Miss Krssi Love.
Say the names again for me, please.
Jesus, that was a lot of names. All right.
I lost track of the third one. I'm sorry.
Tennille Dashwood, Tommy Dreamer, Brian Myers, Cody Deaner, Johnny Swinger, Hernandez, the 20th entrant, Cousin Jake, Alicia Edwards, Rhino at number 1, and Heath. And there are going to be 10 others, so there's going to be some surprise names in there that's previewed by Heath.
Well, wow. Okay, well. Let's go Heath.
Don't think too hard. I gave you the storyline going into the match. JJ.
Listen.
I mean, listen. I want to be a dick and pick my baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be and just pick my baby because it's all about Tennille. But you know, clearly, she's just in here for the giggles. This is all about Heath and Rhino. Obviously, Heath is winning this shit. I mean,
okay.
Clearly.
I got Heath winning by last eliminating and pinning Rhino to turn heel. I think that's going to be the nice way to kind of prolong the storyline. Eddie Edwards will verse Top Guy JJ's favorite Impact Wrestling superstar, Ken Shamrock, with Sami Callihan. This comes off the heels of Ken Shamrock turning heel as Sami Callihan has gotten into his head, attacking Eddie Edwards. And we'll see who wins as
Ken Shamrock with a heel turn?
Yes, he has turned heel and he is being controlled by Sami Callihan. Top Guy JJ, who do you have?
You damn sure know I ain't picking no fucking Ken Shamrock. Like, come on, man. Like, Eddie Edwards, man. Like,
Krssi?
Eddie Edwards.
Eddie Edwards. I think we're going Eddie Edwards all around. Moose versus EC3 in an undisclosed location. This comes off of EC3 stealing the TNA World Championship from Moose, wanting to bring the beast out of Moose, but Moose has taken back his title after bloodying EC3 at the bridge where he tried to throw the title off the bridge. Who do you got, EC3 or Moose? Yes, Krssi Love.
Moose.
Top Guy JJ.
I think EC3 pulls this one off. I mean, I think he gets a big win. I mean, it's like, yo, dude, why the fuck did you come back to this company? Like, why'd you come back? Just a job to another guy that's already fucking established? Moose is established right now. EC3, this narrative shit is a fucking dub if he loses on his first pay-per-view back.
I think the undisclosed location goes into his advantage. He also did say that WWE stole the Raw Underground idea from him, so that he's going to show something in this match. EC3 wins. X Division title match is a 6-way scramble. Rohit Raju will defend the title against TJP, Jordan Grace, Chris Bay, Trey Miguel, and Willie Mack. I'm going to go with Jordan Grace to become the first ever female X Division champion. Krssi Love, who do you got?
First female one. Let's do it. Ain't no other one, right?
No other one. JJ, who you got?
Let's put the female then. Let's do that.
I mean, I guess TNA likes breaking these barriers, man. So I guess, in TNA Impact, whatever the fuck you want to call them. TNA is never gonna leave my fucking head. Yeah, man. I guess it's a clean sweep across the board, man. I'll agree with this one, man. I don't think I picked Jordan Grace in many matches. I'm gonna go with her in this one.
No, you really do. Impact Tag Team Championships is on the line. This one is probably going to be one of the show stealers as the Motor City Machine Guns defend against the former champions, the North, the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows, and Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. This one is going to be a banger for sure. JJ, who you got? Don't think too hard.
So my apologies. I just got something disturbing. I just got something very disturbing. Can you just name me those participants one more time?
He said the North, the Good Brothers,
Ace Austin and Madman Fulton, and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Did Krssi remembering the teams? Holy shit!
No, she just listened.
No, I just
no. I actually remember that one off of the agenda, friend. Thank you.
I mean,
and she's reading the agenda.
I mean, come on. I mean, I guess I'm gonna rock with the Good Brothers. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like, yo, don't be going to these companies. So don't be going to taking these steps back to be losing. Like there's no point, yo. Like the fuck, like Good Brothers got to take this shit. Fuck the Machine Guns. They already had their comeback.
Krssi, who you got?
I was gonna go with the North, but as JJ said, why come to a company if you're gonna lose? The Good Brothers for me as well, friend.
They can afford a loss. They've been pushed very well since they come to Impact Wrestling, and I think the Machine Guns deserve a longer run. So I'm going to go with the Machine Guns to successfully defend, because not all the titles can change hand on this night. Impact Knockouts Championship is on the line. Diana Perazo will defend the title against Kylie Ray. This has been pushed very well. You got the plucky babyface in Kylie Ray versus the cocky heel in Diana Perazo. Perazo broke the arm of Kylie's best friend Susie at Victory Road. Who do you got? Perazo versus Kylie Ray. Krssi Love.
Kylie Ray for the win.
I am going to agree with you. Kylie Ray, the new Knockouts champion. JJ?
Listen, man, this is Tru Heels, man. I'm going with Perazo to retain, man. Like, fuck. Like, I gotta... this is Tru Heels, baby. Fuck, let's go.
Who you got? Main event. This has been one of the best built storylines. I will put this on the top 3, right there, up there with Reigns and Uso, right up there with the Hangman and the Elite storyline in AEW. Rich Swann will get his shot at the Impact World Championship against Eric Young. This has been built since Slammiversary very well, with Eric Young putting out Rich Swann, making him on one foot, almost retiring him, and now Rich Swann is back to get his shot at the gold. I am going with Rich Swann to become the new Impact World Champion. Krssi Love?
Rick Swann for the win. Let's do it.
Yeah, this is a clean sweep right here, man. This is a clean sweep. You don't finish these storylines with some disappointing shit. It is Bound for Glory.
Yep.
Absolutely. So Bound for Glory hopefully has a happy ending with Rich Swann winning. And then speaking of happy endings, we got WWE Hell in a Cell on Sunday. Only 5 matches announced at the time of this filming.
With the red cage coming back, baby. With that bright red cage coming back.
Yes, just announced today, added to the card. I don't even have this in my agenda. It was announced today by WWE that The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, will go one-on-one with Retribution's T-Bar. One-on-one at Hell in a Cell, The Fiend versus T-Bar. Krssi Love, I will start with you.
The Fiend.
JJ?
The Fiend has a match against T-Bar.
Exactly.
Yo, come on, man. Yo, I swear to God, like when I sit here and give them praise for 1 week about Bray's handling, T-Bar.
Yes, bar. Drink it
in. Whatever. This
Drink
match,
it in.
I'm not even. Whatever. This match is whatever.
I'm like, going with The Fiend.
Are we really picking this match?
Right. I mean, we are, but you know.
Going with The Fiend.
Come on, man. I guess it's on record, The Fiend.
You're like, wasting way too much time on this match.
It's annoying.
Jeff Hardy will go one-on-one with Elias. This plays off the Elias still thinking that Jeff Hardy ran him down all those months ago, even though it was confirmed Jeff Hardy didn't. But who knows?
Right.
Cares. Jeff Hardy versus Elias. I'm going with Elias to get the victory here. Who do you got, JJ?
Do we even fucking remember that accident?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because
Yes,
that
we
was
do.
one of
I remember. I
I,
watched.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know you did SmackDown with the Lynches, so of course you're gonna remember. But like, I didn't even fucking remember that shit happened, and that shit got
Just say
5 months
Elias,
ago.
friend. Just say Elias.
Whatever. Yeah, please. Yeah, thanks, Elias.
All
Whatever.
right, Elias across the board there, and now we got
Yep.
the matches that really matter. The Hell in a Cell matches. The three Hell in a Cell matches starts with the women's SmackDown Women's Championship on the line. Finally, it is Bayley versus Sasha Banks. This has been building for months. Bayley betrayed Sasha Banks the SmackDown after Payback, and now it comes down to this: who walks out of Hell in a Cell with the SmackDown Women's Championship? Krssi Love,
I am going to say Bayley.
JJ.
I mean, this has got to drag out for a while.
Right.
I'm hoping this drags out for a while. But WWE busts nuts really quick. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Sasha Banks is gonna pull this one off and become the SmackDown Women's Champion.
I am going with Bayley to win here because I do think they're not going to bust their nut. They have a lot of meat on this bone, and they need to give us something to sink our teeth into. Sasha goes 0-3 in Hell in a Cell matches.
So,
Did you say 0-3, friend? Okay.
0-3. She has lost to
0-3
Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch before this. This will be her third straight loss. All
Hey,
right.
listen.
WWE Universal Championship is on the line. It is an I Quit match, a rematch from one of the best matches of the year. Roman Reigns going one-on-one with Jey Uso. I am going for my tribal chief, your tribal chief, the tribal chief, our tribal chief, the big dog, Roman Reigns. Who do you, Krssi, you agree?
Of course, my tribal chief. My chief, dude.
Who do you got, JJ? Do you acknowledge him?
Of course, he's the tribal chief. He's definitely my tribal chief. Like I just literally said, if my woman cheated on me with him in front of me, I would still not even be mad. Listen, man, this is gonna be an ass whooping. This is gonna be an ass whooping. This is gonna be ugly.
It's gonna be worse than the other one. Yeah.
Gonna be great.
Ugly.
All right, and then
I
finally,
can't wait to see what he's gonna do. I'm so excited.
Finally, we have our main event. The WWE Championship is on the line inside Hell in a Cell. Drew McIntyre going one-on-one with Randy Orton. Part 46 and a half, I think. Hopefully, I will go first. Hopefully, I am praying for Randy Orton to finally defeat Drew McIntyre. Or they should have not had 3 straight pay-per-view matches if Randy never gets the title from Drew, honestly. Who do you have, JJ?
I mean, before I even make that prediction, are we gonna yo, dude, that guillotine from Roman looks fucking deadly.
Yeah, we talked. You missed out on that conversation.
I just said that. Wow. I'm just saying, wow. Like Jesus Christ. Yeah. Listen, Randy Orton has to. He has to win this match. Like this is a must. Like there's not a lot of must wins in wrestling. This is a must win. This makes no sense if he doesn't walk out of here and this would literally put a serious asterisk on his 2020 year based on booking. Based on booking, if he does not win this match, like, come on. He just fucking destroyed the Super Friends. Like he's gotta be able to come out of this.
Miss Krssi Love?
I totally agree. We had this conversation last pay-per-view, and we said for sure that he should have won. And now we're having match 3. If he doesn't win, this whole storyline is pointless. It's stupid, and I just hope WWE is not stupid enough where they just let us down yet again for fuckery. Fuckboy shit. That's my new favorite word. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going with Randy. Randy has to win this match because if he doesn't, I hope his wife gives a whole load of tweets saying "fuck y'all."
I am with you. So we have something to look forward to, fans of Tru Heel Heat. We will be very pissed on Tru Heel Heat 98 if Randy is not our WWE champion. Yep. So that is all for our preview and predictions of this weekend. Our outro, Tru Heels BTR with the Von Erichs and Vert Vixen, and one of our biggest interviews yet with Thunder Rosa is up on the YouTube channel right now. G1 Climax 30 Finals Roundtable featuring myself, Jay News, Wrestle Talk's own New Japan expert Tempest is up on the channel right now as well. Last week's True Rewind Champion, Wednesday Night Warriors, and Dark Power are up as well. And an all-new Wednesday Night Warriors, Dark Power, and AE recap will be up on the YouTube channel this weekend. A new True Rewind will be up next week, and our Bound for Glory Hell in a Cell pay-per-view roundtable will be up on the channel next week as well. And also, you can check out my debut appearance on Alex McCarthy's Wrestling Daily on Wrestle Talks Wrestle 2 YouTube channel now, as we discuss Sasha versus Bayley, Courier in WWE, and more. Thank you so much, Miss Krssi Love. Take it away on where they can find you.
I am the sensational Miss Krssi Love, 1/3 of Tru Heel Heat, as well as SmackDown with the Lynches. We will be back. Mr. Love is back and ready, and the kids are ready to be back. So you will see us this week coming up. You can find us on Twitter, IG. Well, you can find me. We don't have a group. I should make one. Anywho, sidebar. But you can find me on IG, Twitter, and Facebook _ Miss Krssi Love or Miss Krssi Love, or just my name, which is Crystal Lynch.
Top Guy JJ.
All right, nice. And at Instagram, you can find me at Tru Heel _ Top Guy JJ. At Facebook, you can find me at Justin Johnson. Listen, man, I've been getting a lot of weird requests on Instagram. Like, just cut the shit. Like, come on, man. Like, yeah. I don't know you motherfuckers, man.
All right, and you can follow the Tru Heels on their group page on Facebook, Tru Heel Heat on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Battle Club Pro, Warrior Wrestling, Mission Pro Wrestling on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, our partner promotions, Uncanny Attractions with our friend Darnell Mitchell. You can find them on Twitter and Instagram, Wrestling Travel, our partner, and our sponsor for this episode of Tru Heel Heat. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. YouTube, of course, subscribe to Battle Club Pro, Warrior Wrestling, Wrestling Travel, my good brother Alex McCarthy's YouTube channel, Wrestle 2 if you want to check out Wrestling Daily, Jimmy Macaram, and Krssi Love's favorite. She doesn't have a plug because my battery is dying. And of course, you can push the like button for this video, share this video with your wrestling fans and friends, and of course the iCard down at the bottom to subscribe, the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on Tru Heel Heat. And if you don't like to see us, you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and wherever you listen to your favorite audio podcasts. So until Tru Heel Heat 98 next week, just 2 more episodes from 100. This has been the Princess of all the Tru Heels, Miss Krssi Love.
Hello.
Our resident Tru Heel alcoholic, Top Guy JJ. For our very special guest, Andrea Hangst. Thank you so much for joining us. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 97. We are signing off until next time.